Chapter 30. Man-made climate change is a hoax perpetuated by the elite. We've got to ride this global warming issue. Even if the theory of global warming is wrong, we will be doing the right thing in terms of economic and environmental policy. This is a quote by Tim Wirth, president of the UN Foundation. David Wilcock writes in his book entitled The Source Field Investigations, that the effects of climate change have become so obvious that the UN World Meteorological Association feel that the world must be made aware of the changes immediately, as the increase in temperature in the 20th century is likely to have been the largest in any century during the past 1,000 years. In addition, the 1990s are likely to have been the warmest decade of the last 1,000 years. The average thickness of summer Arctic sea ice has decreased by 40% in the last 30 years. Since 1966, the overall snow cover in the Northern Hemisphere has decreased by about 10%. Glaciers in the Argentina-Chile region are melting fully 200% faster in 2003 than in 1975. NASA admitted that the Antarctic Peninsula has warmed 2 to 3 degrees Celsius over the past 50 years, causing rapid thinning, enhanced melting and rapid disintegration of its ice shelves. Since 1950, according to one estimate, 600,000 plant and animal species have disappeared and currently 40,000 more are threatened. Between 2.7 and 270 species disappear each day. Harvard biologist Edward O. Wilson has calculated that half of all plant and animal species will be extinct by 2100, but are examples like this due to human activity? In September 2016, Naturalnews.com reported that over 30,000 scientists had declared that man-made climate change was a hoax that was being perpetuated by the elite in order to make even more money. Do they not have enough? Weather Channel founder John Coleman said that huge fortunes are being made by climate change proponents like Al Gore and others. In a recent interview with Climate Depot, Coleman said that Al Gore may emerge from the shadows to declare victory in the global warming debate if Hillary Clinton would have moved into the White House. Of course, this didn't happen due to Trump supporters, but climate change proponents are undeterred in their mission, ignoring numerous scientific findings indicating that there has been no warming trend at all for nearly 20 years. In 2014, which was then the hottest ever in Earth's history, there were record amounts of ice reported in Antarctica and record snowfall across the globe. The White House assertion that 97% of scientists agree that global warming is real has been debunked by independent research that found that their White House statement conclusions had been cherry-picked and misleading. There are more than 31,000 American scientists as of September 2016 that have signed a petition challenging the climate change narrative, and 9,029 of them hold PhDs in their fields. Retired senior NASA atmospheric scientist John L. Casey revealed that solar cycles are largely responsible for warming periods on Earth and not human activity. Mankind generates only 5% of all greenhouse gases annually. It doesn't matter what is true, it only matters what people believe is true. This is a quote by Paul Watson, co-founder of Greenpeace. Jim Marrs, in his book entitled Our Occulted History, highlights a newspaper article from January 2012 by the Wall Street Journal, who published a letter from 16 scientists, including Nobel Prize-winning physicist Ivar Yeaver, who resigned from the American Physical Society over its warning that the evidence of global warming is incontrovertible. The scientists wrote that stubborn scientific facts argue against global warming being a man-made phenomenon. They said that a growing number of dissenting scientists have serious doubts about the much publicized and alarmist global warming message being used to argue for new carbon taxes on the public but are afraid to speak up because of fear of not being promoted, or even worse. I was on a program yesterday with Art Robinson. He was one of the scientists in the Oregon petition, 17,800 scientists that said that, yes, we understand that we are going through a warming period, but it's not due to man-made gases. And this is 10 years after they came out with their report, and nobody ever talks about that. The recent findings up in Canada, when 60 scientists told the Prime Minister, Harper, if we had known 10 years ago what we know today about science, we would never have asked you to sign on to the Kyoto Treaty. This is a quote by Senator James Inhofe in 2003. Dr. Chris DeFreitas, the editor of the journal Climate Research, led to publish a peer-reviewed article with the politically incorrect, but factually correct, conclusion that the recent warming is not unusual in the context of climate changes over the past 1,000 years. The international establishment mounted a determined campaign to have him removed from his editorial job and also fired from his university position. Thankfully he kept the latter. I have read dozens of scientific papers, I have talked with numerous scientists, I have studied, I have thought about it, I know I am correct. There is no runaway climate change. The impact of humans on climate is not catastrophic. Our planet is not in peril. I am incensed by the incredible media glamour, the politically correct silliness and rude dismissal of counter-arguments by the high priest of global warming. This is a quote by John Coleman, founder of the Weather Channel.